Hey, what's up, you guys? This is GiftTime at Baylor. Hey, I want to wish you guys a happy New Year. Like it's 2025. We're here. We're doing this now. It's craziness, but it's a new year, new opportunities, and right. I hope you guys had some good time with the family. I did as well. I hope you guys got to see the music video I was able to put out for Christmas, and however you feel about it. Honestly, I like it. I love that video. It was fun. It was fun to make the music. The video is crazy. I don't like Santa. If you guys don't tell. I am not Santa fan, but I hope you guys get to check it out a little bit more. I wanted to actually come on here because I kind of wanted to talk about what to expect kind of out of this 2025. Obviously, if you guys are following, if you're following my channel, you saw that basically from November 5th until, you know, there was a Thanksgiving video, there's a music video, but basically, rugby swag show hasn't been happening since November 5th. And honestly, that was more so because we ran into a whole bunch of financial issues. And honestly, just it became just a back end priority and kind of scrambling at the end of the year. End of the years are always tough in and of itself. So, just hadn't been able to get back to making the podcast as is. But don't worry, that's still going to be coming back. We're still bringing back rugby news. But I had kind of an epiphany this break, and I kind of want to say it. I've written it down, but I want to say it out loud so that I not an accountability thing, but just to be able to be reassured of the direction that it is that I'm continually trying to go to. So, you know, if you guys don't know, I've been doing rugby media and particularly even posting here on YouTube, specifically for rugby since 2013, since really February 14th, 2013 or so. And we're talking about 12 years now, going to be entering into the 12th year now of doing this. And I've done a lot of videos. I looked at the numbers, it's more than 1,000 videos that have been posted onto the channel. And, they've been in such various formats in so many ways, whether it was from streaming or whether it's news, whether it has been documentary, whether it's been skits, whether it's been music videos. It's kind of been all over the place. And, I appreciate everyone who's gotten a chance to watch it. But I kind of found myself in a place where, I don't ever feel like I'm a channel that is the place to go to for something, right? It is a channel that exists for the promotion and presentation of rugby, but not necessarily uh, with a specific outcome that goes with it. Even though I intended to, it was always, gift time rugby, translating rugby for you. But, there's sometimes that it wasn't necessarily great in terms of the translation or who it's translating it to or what we're trying to relay all together here. So, I haven't really bothered with that too much because, I always wanted to figure out what exactly is my objective with this. And what am I ending up trying to do through the channel? And I think to some extent it's always been an American's view of the rugby world for America, right? Whether I'm in country or out of it, it's always kind of backed into uh, towards the U.S. in some way, shape, or form. But I think as the years have gone by and the more places that rugby has been able to take me to and the more places I've gone, I don't know if my focus has been so much for the US. I think even this last year of doing Rugby Swag Show, I I simply didn't feel like I was really focusing that much on the US. I don't talk that much MLR, really don't talk about college rugby anymore. Definitely don't talk about club rugby. And a lot of it would have been news. Obviously, international rugby with the US. We talked a lot of Elon Lamar, talked a lot of sevens, talked about the Rugby World Cup, even in 15s. but it still was in the general sense of rugby, but not necessarily rugby for America. And the more I've gotten to go see, the more I'm more curious about the connecting pieces of how some of these other places have been able to function, not just the US. And, even though the US is trying to improve and continue to grow, sometimes it feels very stagnant, but at the other times it's like I'm not there like I was before. I'm in Brazil now rather than the US consistently. So my connection pieces with the U.S. seems to get looser and looser. I've seen other people come up, other rugby media people come up that have better connection. I think with directly with the U.S., whether with the players, whether it's the audience itself, they really work on focusing on the U.S. and its development. And I think at this point in time that I might not be able to do it to do justice. So this year, I told myself, as we, start a new year and not new year, new me, but new year, new improvements, new progressions. I wanted to change what the concept of this channel was going to end up being about. I'm not removing any videos or anything like that, but I really wanted to focus on an American's perspective of rugby, but for non-major rugby countries, particularly English-speaking ones, and then over here in Brazil, um, to just allow myself to be able to build more internationally. Now, it doesn't remove the US from being one of those. But, there's been the interest now that I love seeing of rugby development in South America, with Argentina now really being an asset, seeing what happens here in Brazil, what's going on in Colombia, Uruguay, Paraguay, all those. In addition, there's a lot of curiosity to me that's going on in Africa with Uganda, the Madagascar, obviously my home country, Nigeria. We're seeing this return to Ghana movement in Ghana, and I'm curious to see how that's impacting their rugby because, Ghana has a sufficient rugby team as well, and that's not even taken away from Kenya, Namibia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. South Africa is obviously a more major rugby country, but still to that point, Morocco. Being able to interest that, and then of course, if you guys see my travel, Asia is a regular destination spot for me. So what's happening in East Asia absolutely creates a curiosity for me, but I'm interested even in Central Asia, India, Saudi Arabia, Kazakhstan. What's going on in these respective Iran, and just to be able to have a little bit more room to discuss and build within those. But the other facet that I wanted to make sure that I'm doing is being an entry point for people who are wanting to understand rugby. So I've not been one that delves deep into the nitty gritty of what's going on the field and the technical aspects of it. I think you can get that far better from like a Squidge Rugby or any number of these cats that are based out of South Africa or the UK. For majority of the world, you're still entry pointing rugby. And so it's wanting to be able to create the programming that presents that and creating things that are a little bit more, I don't know, evergreen as well, so that people can be able to use this channel as a resource, as opposed to just kind of making videos as it goes. And, once you get past that video, it's very difficult to want to go back. And as well, it allows me to be able to flex my creativity a lot. And I want to be able to see how far I can go creatively in developing stuff for rugby that isn't necessarily just on the field, but is different entertainment value. I think it's very important now to be able to create that next level of ecosystem for rugby. And look, again, some of this is going to cross over. Like I said, shows like the Rugby Swag Show will probably continue to be very much news and kind of keep a general aspect with much more intersectionality with other countries other than what goes on in the URC and major rugby countries and what we see from typical news. So I have to dig a little bit more. But there's other things that I've been wanting to get done. There's some animations that I've been wanting to get done for a while. Not that this had been what's holding me back, but it helps with the refocusing. I've obviously I'm gonna probably repost up Singapore to Tokyo any way we can that I did with my partner, with my homeboy Jason, my partner in the documentary. But did it with my homeboy Jason. Even though it's going to be 6 years that documentary is, but I think it's still very important and very relevant to how we see what rugby can do, and then really try and be more consistent on answering questions of that are really regularly shown about rugby. What about rugby? Why rugby? How do this? How do that? Things that are a little bit more general, but again, people can be able to come back to. And then, of course, lastly, just wanting to make sure that this is fully a valid resource. It's a lot of work, and obviously I want to be able to continue to have fun with it, and I will always be having fun. I will be making more music videos. Every Christmas, I'm going to be making at least another song for that one. Like this rugby traditions for Christmas was honestly my first original. That was my first original song. Everything has always been a parody or taken from somebody else's instrumentals, but that was an original song. So I enjoyed it. Whether you think it's good or bad, that's neither here nor there. But I'm definitely going to be amping up on those things. So basically, this is me just saying if you are continuing to support, I do appreciate it. And honestly, I'm probably going to try and open up more ways of being able to support, both financially and in your attention as well, because to be able to run the channel, it and be able to be consistent. Obviously, it takes work, but I'm not trying to put the weight on anybody, but except for maybe Google. Alphabet, you need to help me. But I really just want to make sure that when you see the content and more things are on the way, just to allow it to be known that this is kind of the direction we're going. Some of it might be very basic, some of it might be a little bit weird, but just know it's all going to be all in good fun. Anyways, this is just a short way of me saying that this is going to be making some changes with the channel. How that connects with the social medias is going to be a thing, but the biggest thing that I could ask from you guys is that if you could obviously like and subscribe to this, but if you guys can go on to the GiftTimeRugby.com website and join the news list and be able to allow me to be able to send you guys more information through there, and even if you, for at minimum, just to be able to connect and let me know what you guys are thinking on and what you guys think might also be needed so that it can be a much more fluid website. I would definitely appreciate that. That would mean the most. So other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, great week. We're going to try and bring back Rugby Swag Show, probably not until February. I got to get things all kind of settled out with other stuff here in January. But I'll still try and post a couple things between now and then. But again, it's not going to be Rugby Swag and news show stuff. But it'll be, hopefully somewhat level of entertaining. I'm gonna see what I can do. But until then, I hope that you guys are happy. I hope that you guys are healthy. And most importantly, I hope that you know that you are highly favored. Until next time, y'all. Cheers.